Welcome to a brand new episode of You Don't Know Jack with Lydia and Matt. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Larry David says
Today's the last day.
today's the last day we can to wish everybody Happy New Year.
So
However,
we're recording on Sunday.
Correct, the 4th.
So hopefully you listen to it today on the 4th. But if you don't,
We're extending it a day.
to the close of business tomorrow,
'Cause
January
people had
5th.
off, yeah.
Because it's fallen sort of on the weekend. A lot of people didn't work on Friday. So I think you can get away with it
I think
tomorrow.
Larry would extend it a day.
Yeah,
I think he would allow that.
I think tomorrow, though, is the last day it's happening.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we thought 2025 was a struggle and a little bit of a kind of mild nightmare, I would say.
Yeah.
Fever dream, we can say. Well, we woke up yesterday
Yeah.
to some crazy stuff. Now, I'm going to say I was in a funk all day yesterday because I woke up and I was smacked in the face with the news of, and we're going to get into that, the Maduro news. And I'm going, wait a minute. What are we doing? And also, like, do we need to maybe not be here anymore? And and I woke up on New Year's Day and I said, 2026, the year we leave the United States. And then 2 days later, this happened. So I was, my mind has been all over the place. So I think it's good we're talking about it.
So let's level set some things. So first off, remember, we got 1 year, though, in the books. Okay, so we only have like 3 years left.
I know, and midterms are coming.
Yeah, midterms are coming. So a reckoning is coming. But so what we're talking about, obviously, is United States Special Operations in conjunction with Central Intelligence did an incursion into Venezuela, to a sovereign state.
Yep.
And extricated the president Maduro and his wife.
Yeah.
And brought them back to the USS Iwo Jima and then flew them back to New York, where they've been indicted he's been indicted on at least 4 counts.
Narcoterrorism.
In conjunction with narcotics. And so, yeah, I woke up thinking like, okay. And now I'm older than you. So I remember when we invaded Panama in 1989 to get Manuel Noriega.
Yes.
And for the same essential purposes. But we invaded with like 25,000 troops. George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yeah. I called my dad yesterday. I was like, you lived through H. Bush more than I would remember. Like, what can you tell me about the Panama conflict? Yeah. To which I got a retired man's response. Yeah. Jesus Christ, Lydia, I don't remember.
Yeah, but we invaded to search for him. He had taken up refuge in a Catholic church, or in the Vatican mission in Panama, and eventually surrendered. Noriega was brought back, put on trial, locked in the Hooskow. So there's precedent to do this. There's also precedent that goes back more than 200 years. It all starts with James Monroe and the Monroe Doctrine. Yeah. And what we said then was, listen, we're not going to have European colonialization of Latin and Central America. Yeah, that's all over. Yep. Okay, this is our sphere of influence. Y'all stay over where you belong.
Right.
We control.
On the other side of the pond.
Yeah, we dominate this hemisphere.
Yeah.
And then Teddy Roosevelt had expanded it, and then we saw John Kennedy, expand it to fight what we thought was the expansion of communism, and now Trump has expanded it. So there is a track record in America for meddling in the affairs of Latin and South America.
Yep.
Obviously, most famously, we all know about the Bay of Pigs, but there's also El Salvador, the Contras. Yep. We've also oftentimes stood up some very bad strong men to keep the communist threat as we saw it in check.
Yep.
Most notably in Chile with Pinochet, where he disappeared lots and lots of people.
Yep.
So we're meddling in the affairs of Latin and South America, and what we know historically is this just never really works very well.
Correct.
We overthrew somebody in the Dominican Republic before. I think Costa Rica, maybe Honduras. We've meddled in every state.
We've put our fingers in that pie one too many times,
and it just never.
No, it never works out.
It never works well. And so, okay, so look, if the mission was to go in and get what we consider to be a criminal,
a credible criminal,
akin to El Chapo or something like that, okay. But that's not where we stopped. That's the problem.
No.
So now we're talking about we are going to run Venezuela
so basically,
for an undetermined period of time, and we're not clear how we're doing it.
So the quote is, we're going to run the country, in quotes, temporarily and oversee a transition while leveraging Venezuela's vast oil reserves for reconstruction. Okay. We all know he went in for the oil.
Dick Cheney has a tear in his eye. I know. Dick Cheney's looking up at us with a tear in his eye.
Yeah, so my whole thing is like this. I feel like I've already lived through this narrative once before because we have. But my thing is the oil fields. China just made a $1 billion investment in Venezuela for 2 oil fields to pump 60,000 gallons a day from. Do you think that they're going to give up $1 billion to the United States government and or U.S. oil companies?
Right.
Because basically he's saying that U.S. oil companies are going to get so rich going in here.
Well, I think what he would argue, is, hey, U.S. companies had oil interests in Venezuela that Hugo Chavez nationalized. So really what he's saying is, no. We're not taking anything from China. I think this is what they'll message. We're not taking anything from China. It was American company property. We're just returning it to them.
Right. And
I think that will be the narrative that they will try to push.
I understand that, but it's still it's considered to be like kind of a slap in the face. I think if you were China and then you were having this deal with Maduro and then Maduro got kidnapped, essentially.
Well, and as somebody said, so think about the geopolitical world, and we're asserting the Monroe Doctrine in our hemisphere.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Chinese sit in Asia. And across the Straits of Taiwan, they see what they consider a renegade providence.
And they're already upping their military prowess in that area. I mean, they're already doing exercises over there.
So play this out to a logical or illogical conclusion.
Well, we're living in an illogical conclusion.
They move on Taiwan and say, hey,
yep.
They're renegades. They're criminals.
Yep.
They're fostering dissent in our country. We moved to eliminate that threat and we're going to control it until a new government is formed.
Right.
And by the way,
we set that precedent yesterday.
And 97% of our superconductors come from Taiwan. So that's a military strategic interest. And by the way, we also have a treaty with Taiwan.
Yes, we do.
That says if they're attacked, we have an obligation to come to their defense.
Yeah.
Play it out again. I don't know. Is anybody paying attention to what's going on in Eastern Europe? We have a country, Russia, that has invaded another country. Now he turns around during negotiations and say, look, this is akin to what you had to do in Venezuela because somebody was undermining the threat and security of your country by pumping in drugs. Ukraine has undermined the threat and security of our country by whatever he comes up with, whatever bullshit. Crimea, whatever. And so we are just doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous precedent to set.
It's not great.
Yeah.
So China and Russia condemned the strikes as violation of international law and the attack on Venezuelan sovereignty. U.S. allies called for de-escalation and, also respecting the UN Charter.
Yeah, I mean, this is by definition a violation of international law.
100%. It's a violation of U.S. law.
Right. I would say it's certainly a murky area of the law.
The Monroe Doctrine, I understand, but you're standing on a doctrine that was written by Monroe.
Right.
We are
our fifth president.
Our fifth president of the United States. Right. I mean,
we're 42 presidents forward, but it's been consistent U.S. policy since the 1820s.
And I get that, but it's also like the guy 47 is a hypocrite. We all know this.
Right.
He just pardoned a real narco terrorist in the United States. 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
And now he's going into it. And that person was in our country, in our judicial system. And he was like, you know what? You're all right. You can go. And now he's going into a complete other country to do it. Now, I will say Venezuela did hold elections.
And Maduro lost. No.
And he took over as a dictator would. And the winner was,
just won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Just won the Nobel Peace Prize, yes. Are we going to install her And then what does that say for you? Does that reflect back? So when you're done, because now you're in your second term,
Right.
when you're done, you're done. Right. And then, or do we remove you?
Right. Well, and so it also, there's just a lot of issues with this. But look, let's not get it twisted here. Nicolas Maduro is my buddy Nate would say is a bad hombre. Okay, that's a bad guy.
Yeah,
okay?
But there are ways.
But in the world,
how you handle it.
In the world, in Latin and Central America and South America, there are a lot of bad guys.
Yeah.
People might say, "What?" But by the way, what if the rest of the world says, you guys got a bad hombre running your country?
Please.
We've indicted him for whatever.
Yep.
And they come. I mean, I'm just simply saying, there's.
You have opened the door to somebody being like, "Oh, we don't like your leader. We're going to come and get him."
What if, for instance, Donald Trump is on a peace mission in Russia?
Okay.
And literally, the Russian military just swarms the plane, overwhelming force, and takes him and indict. So where do you go? You go to war, I guess, right?
Do you?
Well,
is he worth going to war?
Right,
for?
but that's potentially where. But how is that different? Other than we're bigger, stronger than Venezuela.
Yeah.
So, and again, he was not democratically elected. I think this is worse if it's a democratically elected president.
I do too. I mean, I think
but it's still bad.
The optics are terrible. I also would like to point out that we knew something was going to happen because the Pentagon pizza theory. Yeah. So there are lots of orders of pizza that go to the Pentagon at crazy hours for several days, like a day or an evening. There's a ton of pizza that's ordered and delivered to the Pentagon. There's usually something up.
And was the pizza, there an uptick?
Huge uptick in pizza.
There you
this
go.
Happened when they did the boat attacks with Osama bin Laden. So it's the Pentagon pizza theory. So it's not, you have to eat, you know, and you're there all crazy hours. And what's the thing that everybody can eat? Pizza.
Right.
So they were expecting something because there was an uptick in pizza orders.
But, it'll be, obviously, this is going to be a drawn-out process. It's going to be difficult. This is not...
My thing is I just don't want it to be an open-ended commitment for our U.S. troops. I don't think that we belong anywhere there. I don't think it's fair.
And I will tell you, Lydia, it undermines Trump's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I remember America First.
Yeah.
Remember, he was very critical of the Iraqi war.
We're spending billions.
Afghanistan.
We're sending money out of the United States that...
So, and by the way, it's also not consistent with somebody who wants to call himself a peace president.
Exactly. Oh,
somebody who's lobbying for...
Oh, you mean it's hypocritical?
Yeah, a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yes.
You'll hear mixed reviews. Like Venezuela was very economically depressed. They had a mass exodus of people at the borders leaving Venezuela. Right. It was very hard, brutal dictator. It was hard to live in Venezuela.
Terrible guy.
Not great, but you have mixed. I mean, I don't agree, but it was what it was. It was their conflict. It was their issue to resolve, not ours. And I think that we definitely stepped in it in a way that I think, obviously, people, the senators, Chris Van Hollen had a good reaction to it, which was, this is ridiculous. The Senate is already being like, we're not supporting this. But the problem is you've got a guy who's operating unilaterally and not really following the letter of the law. So, it's nice that these senators are making these statements, but at the end of the day, they need to really look at who the leadership is and really take back the power from the executive.
Yeah, and that's on the the Senate is in the House. Our legislative body has ceded a lot of power in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And when you cede power, our government is set up in 3 branches, and it's meant to fight. That's
Absolutely.
what those branches are meant to be in conflict. That's what they want. They want because what they don't want is things to go fast.
No.
Okay? And the Senate was always known as the saucer that cools the tea. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
A bunch of hotheads in the House.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate's the deliberative body that the House is
they're the cooler head.
Right. The House is the mob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it is.
It's the rabble, the mob.
Yeah. I mean, there's 400
It's
of
the
them.
people's house.
And there's 50 senators.
100 senators.
50 for, 2 for each state. So 100 senators. But my thing is, it's the cooler head that's supposed to look at all the chaos that the House brings, all these great ideas. And then the senators go, that's good. that's not great. Let's
slow this down.
Let's they have the red pen, right? Yeah. And so I feel like we are, number one, we're missing a huge swath of education and how the government and judicial system should work. And I did hear a very good kind of a soft launch of an idea for when we rebuild the East Wing of the White House, because that will have to happen.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. The thing is that it should be a kind of an annex about democracy and how it works, and sort of like it should be. I mean, the White House should be open to and should be open to the public. I don't know how many people from the public want to go to the White House, but it should be. And they always said that the West Wing was the head, and the East Wing was the heart.
Right.
And so like life happened in the East Wing, and, crises, right. And, how running the day to day.
The government's
run from the West Wing, but the East Wing was the heart. It's gone. And I think that that's a really good analogy, is like the heart has been ripped out of the United States as far as I'm concerned. And especially in the government sector, in a very real and visceral way with the destruction of the East Wing. But do you rebuild it as a center for democracy and education purpose? So that this doesn't happen again.
So if I happen to be elected 48.
Ooh, I'd love that. Yeah. Ooh. Can we start now?
I would tear down what he's going to build. And
I doubt it gets built.
Right. But if it did get built, I would tear it down. Uh-huh. And I would build back consistent with what it was.
Mm-hmm. Put the Rose Garden back.
Yeah, I would. And it would be about a return to normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
That would be, but I think here's the thing with disruptors. Mm-hmm. Disruptors can cause so much damage so quickly.
It's all distraction.
And it's hard. It takes a long time to build this back.
Yep.
And it does. And I will tell you, of all the atrocities that have been waylaid on our government by ourselves, mm-hmm. There's nothing that I think I found more cruel and heartless. Talk about the loss of a heart. Was cutting the U.S. aid policy.
Yep.
Soft diplomacy,
mm-hmm.
where we fed a lot of the world. What it cost us was de minimis in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
And we did it just abruptly. We let food rotting on the on docks and on ships. And, I think there's easily hundreds of thousands of people that are probably dead now because of that.
Yep.
And so day number 2 day number 1 would probably be reestablishing the U.S. aid. It's who we are. I don't think this is who we are. Let me say this. And then this isn't a strategy, because hope isn't a strategy. I hope this isn't who we are. I think we have to believe in our better angels.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next American president, whoever he or she is, if you ask me to bank, it's going to be a he. Not because I'm not pro-woman. I just think that's the way what we're going to have to do to win. For reasons I don't understand completely, mm-hmm. but we've talked about that before. I just don't. Listen, I'm in it to win, and I'm not in it to make. I don't have to change the world on or change American history on who we elect. If I have to elect a 60-year-old white dude to make us back who we are, I don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care if we have to elect a 48-year-old community organizer of African American descent
mm-hmm.
to change us back to who we are.
Right.
I don't care if we have to elect a 70-year-old woman who happened to be the former first lady. I don't really care. Mm-hmm. I don't care if we have to elect a mixed race woman who was from California. I don't care what we have to do, but I think it'll be a man. Is my prediction. Will be the standard bearer for the Democratic Party. And whoever it is, they just have to build us back. I mean, we have to build back, as you said, with our heart.
Yeah.
Like, let's be who we are.
We have no empathy left. And I think that is, it's number one, we're exhausted. And people are like, you got to pay attention. You got to do all this stuff. And you're like, I've lived through this administration once before. I didn't want to do it again, but we're in this situation. I will also say that the ACA wasn't renewed.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have...
Well, the subsidies of the ACA.
The subsidies were not renewed, yep. Which basically is the ACA, by the way. it's one of these things where you have people that are economically freaking out. Everybody thinks we're in a recession. We're not in a recession.
No,
but everybody thinks we are. The food costs are so high. Food is so expensive. And then and then you look at the whole thing and you're going, why are we in a different country? We can't even feed ourselves properly. We can't even get health care if we wanted. These should be all basic things. And I think the one glimmer of hope was on New Year's Day, you had Zoran Mamdani sworn in with a guy that is actively empathetic, did hey, I'm going to listen to you. I'm creating offices where I can hear you and give you good feedback and everything else. And it's considered to be extreme behavior to be kind and empathetic, which I think is ridiculous. And that should be the baseline.
And I think you're right. I think that's who we are. I really do believe that's who we are. I heard a great line. You'll hear, the Trumpers say, the economy, it's the greatest economy in the world. GDP is 4%. And I heard the great response to it. People don't eat GDP. Mm-hmm. They eat food.
Yeah.
And they see their food costs.
Yeah.
You don't eat GDP. You don't eat the stock market. And
it's
that's
the level of being so incredibly out of touch.
Yeah, there are those among us that have absolutely benefited. Mm-hmm. I can look at my investments and my 401k, but I'm an exception to that rule. That's not lots of people
sitting here counting your money being they just. My thing is, you're sitting here understanding that there are the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots are greater than the haves. And I think that you have to sit here and go, okay, if I'm lucky enough to be financially stable, then how am I helping those who are not? And
correct.
And equality.
I think that's exactly what we're supposed to do.
And equality does not mean that you have less than I do.
Right.
It means we have the same thing, and we're on the same even playing field. And I think when you hear the word equality, they think, well, you're taking away from me to give to somebody else. And the thing is you're just bringing everybody else up.
Listen, I can sum up my core belief in domestic life and domestic policy in a sentence or two, which is I think that any American, regardless of your education level, okay, if they bust their tail, I'm talking, work a full day, bust it. And by the way, some of the jobs that we quote consider lesser or menial, some of the hardest working people you ever meet.
Yeah.
But you bust your can 40 hours a week, work, you have a family. And I don't think that those folks should have to deal with insecurity about knowing that they're going to have a roof over their head, that they're going to be able to feed themselves and their kids.
Yep.
And that they're going to have access to health care.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm not saying they have to live in a mansion. I'm not saying that they got to eat T-bone steaks every day. I'm not saying that they need to have free plastic surgery on demand or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, that's the American. It's not just a promise. It's the American pact. It's the pact that we make with ourselves and people, and says, hey, if you do your share, we're going to make sure that, and by the way, if your share's not good enough, despite you doing what we're asking for you, then we're going to figure out either how to help you or how to build you up.
Yep.
Because the social safety net, everybody wants to scream, it's a handout, it's a handout, it's a handout. It's a hand up. It's a safety net when things go back. Hey, I'm the guy who's working a labor-intensive job, blah, blah, blah. I get, and I've busted my can for 20 years. I get cancer. My family shouldn't have to be homeless.
No.
And that's how I believe that the social compact is better than a promise that we have as Americans with ourselves, with our neighbors, with our friends, with our fellow countrymen. Be it if, I saw the governor of Nebraska making nasty remarks about New York City. Somebody said, John Delaney, a former congressman, tweeted, said, we didn't win World War II by pitting New York City against Nebraskans. We sent Nebraskans and New Yorkers to war, and we fought together, and we worked together, and we built together.
Yeah.
We build this country. I want Nebraska to succeed.
Yeah.
So why does Nebraska want to attack New York City or Mamdani and the Mamdani administration? We want New York to succeed. we should want Nebraska to succeed.
Yeah.
And so I just think, but that's what I believe in the social compact. And I think it is. And again, I'm not saying.
I think also we're getting into.
That's who we are. I think it's who we should be.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that that's what's expected. I think the generation upcoming is like, no, this is ridiculous. And there are other examples, and I'm really sick and tired of elders in this country being like, well, that's a smaller country and they can have all those things because they're not as big as the United States. And to them, I say, they are doing it in spite of their smallness.
Right.
We have no excuse.
Right.
We have absolutely zero excuse when everybody in this country should not have health care, basic health care.
So why do we sit there and say we can't do big things anymore?
You know,
why? So listen.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole book. There's a great book called Abundance. It's Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson. I think we've talked about it before. I highly encourage everybody to read that book because it does outline all the great things we are capable of doing.
But by the way, when you say we can't do big things, I always think to exactly one thing.
Yeah.
It's like 1961. Don't quote me on the date.
Mm-hmm.
And John Kennedy said, we're going to put a man on the moon in the next decade.
Did it.
And he said, we don't do it. We don't endeavor to do it because it's easy. We endeavor to do it because it is hard.
Yeah. Because
that's who we are. Yeah. No, it's like, and by the way, unfortunately, President Kennedy wasn't here to see it come to fruition.
No.
But so he said in 10 years. And by the way, in 1961, we had no freaking plan on how to we hadn't even orbited the low Earth orbit yet.
No.
Okay. He said that and he challenged us. And those guys were like, what in the hell is he talking about? Mm-hmm. And we didn't do it in 10 years. We did it in 8.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing.
That's who we are.
We're capable of coming with vaccines for a pandemic in a very short
And by the way,
time.
President Trump's administration built a vaccine faster than any country has ever imagined to do one.
Yeah. And
under his administration. Now, I understand it was private business, but he challenged them.
He did.
And then he rejects that's an accomplishment. And that is something I don't understand why we're opposed to that. That is think about how long they labored for a vaccine for polio and smallpox.
How about measles?
And measles. But I mean, but they labored for this for decades.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's the thing:
we found a vaccine for COVID in 6 months
because
it's American ingenuity, American know-how, American talent, American science, American leadership.
I will say because they were working on mRNA vaccines for HIV and AIDS.
Right.
In the early 90s, and that research already existed.
Correct.
And part of reading this book, Abundance, is saying okay, you should fund 100% of all scientific research, because when you start to do something on one project, you will discover things that will be valuable for other things.
The space program. Think about all the stuff that we got from the space program.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I mean, to the jump off on me, we got a freaking microwave.
Yep.
We got Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we really got the abundance of plastics as we've seen it, and all the stuff you do with. I mean, it's it led to so much stuff, and so
astronaut ice cream.
I don't want to hear. By the way, here's what I say. I think you're right. There's another generation coming that's going to say this isn't okay, but I think you and I are of the generation where it is our turn to lead, and we have to lead. We have to start leading. We have to start leading with our head and our heart, and that's. I hope that comes.
Well, we have no other choice.
Yeah.
Other than your daughter looking for French real estate.
Yeah.
Be like
where she is right now. Yeah. And living her best life.
Yeah. Rory, look at see if we can find a chateau someplace.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about sports.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get into some sports.
We'll get into some sports. Thank you for letting us talk about this and process.
But it's the world, and that's what this podcast is about. And we're sports centric, we're Maryland centric, but we're not tied to it.
We're not blind to what's happening around us. And I think, I had a difficult time processing it yesterday. I can imagine other people are having the same situation. So hopefully we found this conversation helpful. All right, let's talk about college football.
So by the way, I should apologize for our listeners. If they hear this annoying cough, I have an annoying cough, but it's getting better. I'm not sick, but
he has this thing. I would also like to tell everybody that I did put a Ricola
sitting on here.
Right. And said, if you need it, use it.
But it's not like a cough for a cough. It's like the junk.
I get it.
I know.
I get it. I understand. All right. So this is the second year for the 12-team format. I
you don't want to bye.
No.
So, by the way, teams that have had a bye are now 1-7. Yep. The only team to ever win coming off a bye is Indiana this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every other team that's had a bye into the quarterfinals has lost.
Yes,
it's insane.
Mm-hmm. So it's causing some upsets and blowouts, as I personally know. Miami knocked off my Bucks, and
then beat Texas A&M and your Bucks.
Yes, they beat Texas A&M and my Bucks.
Both on the essentially the Texas A&M in College Station, which is a very tough place to play.
It is, and then Ole Miss beat Georgia, which was a crazy
that was the only good game. It was the only good game.
Crazy game. And then Indiana crushed Alabama, and Oregon didn't allow a point. Didn't allow 1 point. Yeah. So right now we've got Miami and Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl, and Indiana and Oregon in the Peach Bowl.
So Indiana and Oregon rematch.
Yes.
Indiana went to Oregon earlier this year. It got what was an upset. Beat I think number 1 Oregon at the time, or number 2 Oregon at the time.
It was 2. Yeah.
Yeah. They and so that'll be an interesting game. I will say that Coach Signetti seems to be pushing all the right buttons right now. And they are a pedal to the metal kind of team.
They are.
But Oregon they got loads of skill players. They have a really talented offensive line. Oregon's probably got 40 or 50 4- and 5-star recruits on their roster. They have a great quarterback as well.
They do. They don't have a Heisman winning.
No, Mendoza just seems to be such a just a talented quarterback, a very mature quarterback. But yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. I think the Ole Miss story, though, it continues to really kind of captivate a lot of us. Coach Goldie, who took over, defensive coordinator, took over for Lane Kiffin. By the way, I'm a Lane Kiffin lover. I love Lane Kiffin.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I love Lane Kiffin. See, I think he is. I think he is he's a savant when it comes to coaching. In terms of designing offense, I think the guy's really talented. Do I blame him for? Actually, what I would say about this, and if we haven't talked before, I blame the calendar of the BC of college football for Lane Kiffin leaving and the timing of this when it happens. And all these coaches moving, as opposed to I blame those individually. Yeah. Because, by the way, if Lane Kiffin was still at Ole Miss but was going to take the LSU job, the portal opened like 2 days ago. Yeah. They could be losing all kinds of transfer players and stuff like that. They'd look like a rudderless ship. So I blame the calendar, but that's a debate for a different day. But what the Ole Miss guys, with those players on that team, it's like them against the world. They've rallied around, but I tell you, a lot of their offensive staff, they're going to LSU, but Lane Kiffin is letting them come back, work for his guys. Yeah. I know Lane Kiffin's taking a lot of abuse about this, and I get it.
Yeah, but he's being good.
He's trying to make sure that those guys win a national title, or they have every tool in their toolbox to win.
Yes. He's not trying to pull the rug out from underneath them, so to speak. I mean, I will say, watching that Ole Miss game, the Georgia Ole Miss game, and the referees at the very end, give up the ghost. My God, they had to take the stage off 3-4 times because they're like, oh, we got to do this. I'm like, it's over. Like, it's over. Yeah. Just call it. Nobody's going to say it didn't happen when it happened. It happened. Right. 47-yard field goal. Right.
It was, but I'll tell you, that game, and I stayed up for it.
You did?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, we were all like, oh, man, I don't know if we can go into overtime. Right. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know either. And then Tim's like, well, is this the return? Like, he was already in overtime. I'm there's 34 seconds left.
I was glad it didn't go to overtime.
Me too. Yeah. We were all glad it didn't go over to overtime. But it was pretty incredible.
But, and so Ole Miss takes on, why am I blanking on who they're playing?
Miami.
Miami, yeah. Mm-hmm. And, it's in Miami, man, that defensive line can get after you. Probably have 2 first-round picks on the defensive line. But by the way, you have 3 teams that have never won a national title.
I love that.
Or not in the modern era. Yeah. I think Ole Miss may have won in the 40s or something. But and then, Miami, the U, obviously has been a juggernaut, but hasn't won since 2002.
Yeah, I know. But they're the only team that's 14-0 at this point.
Indiana.
Indiana. Yeah. And I think that,
Indiana has a chance to be the first team to go 16-0. No team's ever done that.
I think that's great. I like the confidence of their coach. They said, why would you hire me? From JMU, he goes, well, I win. This is what I thought was interesting. So you and I talk all the time about sports and keep an eye on all the things. And my dad at New Year's Day, we were having, New Year's Day dinner. And he was, with the traditional fare of pork, sauerkraut, black eyed peas, and greens.
I like none of that stuff, by the way.
I don't either.
Yeah. Just FYI.
I eat the black eyed peas, but that's about it. So I'm sitting there and the greens. I'll eat the greens. But I sit there and I'm like, Dad goes, "Did you know Indiana is like a really good football team?" I'm like, "Yeah, where have you been? Living under a rock?" And he's like, "Well, I had no idea." And I'm like, "Well, clearly you don't listen to the podcast. Thanks, Dad."
Well, I will tell you, I'll tell you this though about Indiana, and they've really embraced the transfer portal and the NIL. They are backstopped by a very famous alumnus. Do you know who backstops them financially?
No, I don't.
Mark Cuban.
Oh, well, there you go. Perfect.
It's just like we're going to talk about University of Michigan. Do you know who backstops University of Michigan?
Isn't it like the Barstool guy?
No. He's just their biggest mouthpiece.
Oh.
Larry Ellison.
Oh, well.
That is unlimited.
Yeah,
Larry Ellison is I think the second or third richest person in the world.
Yes.
The University of Michigan has literally you think Ohio State or you think these programs have a lot of money.
And then you look at these guys.
But like for Larry Ellison though, if he had Mark Cuban's money, he'd kill himself. Okay,
yeah,
like Larry Ellison's worth like $100 billion.
Yeah, so
more.
he's like writing blank checks.
Like he can just write blank checks to build Michigan to whatever.
And yet, Ohio State beat you.
So let's talk about Michigan in the head coaching carousel.
Yeah. Okay. So who do you have before we get there? Do you have a predictive winner for this
so listen,
playoff season?
I think Miami ends the Ole Miss fairy tale, even though I want Ole Miss to win.
Sure.
And I think Indiana continues.
I think so too. I think I think it's Indiana, Miami.
Yeah.
In the final.
And I think it's probably the Hoosiers. Yeah. I think.
So we both picked
it's kind of a fairy tale, but.
Yeah.
So, but on those teams not playing in the playoffs, and by the way, my condolences about your Bucks.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
By the way, we won't even get into the fact that Notre Dame just got jobbed.
They did.
Okay.
They definitely did. Yeah.
With all due respect, by the way, if you don't think Notre Dame would have played better than Alabama.
Oh, they totally would have.
Because Alabama really played. Yeah, Alabama was really fading at the end of the year. Had 3 losses. I know they play in the SEC, but I still thought Notre Dame should have gone over Miami. I know Miami beat them head to head, but on the eye test. Even though Miami's played great, so I won't even get into that. But so your Buckeyes though are not going to repeat as national champions, but they are still the defending national champion, and they also beat Michigan.
And they could beat Michigan, so I'm happy. So a mutual friend of ours kept showing me the score of the game on New Year's Eve, which number one, that also made me mad that they couldn't just wait New Year's Day to play that game because that's like an important game. Anyway, I kept showing me the score, and I was like, and I was like, listen. I said, you know what? He goes, he says, they're not going to repeat the national title. I'm like, that's okay. They beat Michigan. And he goes, you'd much rather have them beat. I said, I can't explain it. It's just
I think it's a visceral response. In that rivalry, I think that's absolutely correct.
I think so too. So speaking of the Wolverines, Michigan head coach had a massive scandal in early December. He was fired.
Jerome Moore was fired.
He was fired. The university did an internal investigation and found credible evidence that Moore had engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member and a clear violation of school policies. He was dismissed for cause, meaning Michigan said it had grounds not to pay out the remainder of his contract.
And then he ended up getting himself arrested over it.
Yep. And then right after he got arrested, authorities were called to an apartment in South Ann Arbor. About an alleged assault tied to Moore. He was detained, turned over to the Pittsfield Township officers before being booked.
It was booked on a felony. It was like a third-degree home invasion. Now, as I understand,
first-degree home invasion.
Right. It sounds like he broke in to say, "You ruined my life, and I'm going to kill myself in front of you." He did not. There was no evidence that he actually harmed his parent. It wasn't there. He wasn't there to commit physical violence, at least allegedly.
Allegedly.
He was not there to commit physical violence on her. He was basically sitting there to scream at her that you ruined my life and I'm going to kill myself in front of you.
Perhaps that's one version of it. But so home invasion, first degree, stalking involving a domestic relationship, and breaking and entering a domestic relationship. These charges are linked to a woman who Moore had a long-term intimate relationship with. Prosecutors allege that he went into her apartment after the relationship ended, repeatedly contacted her, entered her home, and engaged in behavior they described as threatening and terrifying. Court documents show that the woman's home, after she tried to end the relationship, he entered the residence without permission, grabbed scissors and butter knives inside the apartment, and actions that the woman experienced as threatening and frightening.
Right. So here's what
did he put him in like Edward Scissorhands with butter knives?
I mean, What I would say,
I'm not trying.
No. What I would say is this: look, there's never a place for that.
No,
we obviously. But listen, Sherrome Moore's 39 years old.
I know, he knows better,
and he does. But I also say this: he also is only 39 years old. I hope. I think he. I don't want to. I'm not condoning any of it. I hope Sherrome Moore probably gets some help, and gets a chance to rebuild his life in a meaningful way.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But I would. I'm not saying he's going to be a head coach anywhere.
Yeah.
But could he end up being an assistant coach in the NFL? I don't think that's impossible.
I don't think. Well, no, the NFL will take anybody. But I feel my thing is, and they've been known to be fine with domestic abusers. My point is I think that this person has some mental health issues that needs to be addressed, and I don't think that they should be around organizations organizations would be very leery about opening up to him because he within the system has already been investigated.
And by the way, one of the things in Michigan's was they were investigated about this a rumor.
Yeah.
They denied it. And then she came forward when it fell apart and dimed him out.
Yeah. And then they were like, okay, well, we can get rid of you. We don't have to pay the remaining of your contract. It's going to work out well for Michigan. We'll get somebody else.
Right. And they did get Kyle Willingham from Utah was just hired. Willingham had a lot of success at Utah, a whole lot of success. What my issue is again, I understand the numbers change and maybe it's the new 45. Guy's 65 years old. It's like, is that really a long-term plan in Michigan, or?
Well, it's a good stopgap measure to stop get. I mean, because
to maybe stabilize the ship.
Let me tell you, the portal's open.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to an organization who's very shaky at best, and you're putting in your?
And this is a guy's been a head coach for 20 years at Utah, stable.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's definitely not a bad move.
I would say it's a transitional coaching position, and I think that the guy from Utah is like, hey, I can go from Utah to Michigan. We'll see how it goes.
Might have a chance to win a national title.
I might have a chance to win a national title. I might be able to, because they have such a good booster with Ellison, I might be able to get the players I've always wanted.
Well, and think about it. If you think about marquee national programs.
That's one of them.
In college football, okay? I think the most national program we have, yes, I'm biased, people are going to hate it, Notre Dame, is the ultimate national program.
Sure.
And by the way, even when they're not good, they're a national program. Okay.
Well, they bring the viewership.
They bring viewership. They put butts in the buckets, butts in front of TV. It's just what they do. They have a national fan base, and it's not about alumni. It's about family traditions. It's about the Irish in America. It just speaks to, as an Irishman in America, it speaks to us in a way that it's hard to explain. It's handed down from your father to you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and from your mom to you. It's just this belief system. Right after Notre Dame, I mean, it's the University of Michigan. It's Ohio State.
Yep.
I mean, I think are probably the next two, what I would say, national programs. You can say, oh, Alabama. Alabama's a regional program. It's very big in the South.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a Southern team, it's like Texas A&M, Texas.
I think
Alabama,
I think
Georgia.
Yeah, I think Texas is probably very close to the line with Michigan and Ohio State is, I think the other one that I would think of a national program, I think probably USC.
I was going to say USC.
But so the point is, Willingham went to one of those two huge jobs. Yeah. Now, of all the things that I most enjoyed about the coaching carousel, and I may have said this on our last episode, it's BK getting fired. It's Brian Kelly because, dude, listen, you don't leave Notre Dame to take another college job.
No.
Notre Dame is the terminus of a career. It is where you end.
Yeah.
You don't. Now, if our coach wants to jump to the league, God bless him. I mean, everybody loves Notre Dame's coach. He says Freeman. He's a Buckeye. He said he's back. He's back for 2026. Apparently the Giants are very disappointed. They wanted to hire him.
But does he want to work for the Giants or does he want to work for Notre Dame?
I think he wants to win a national title. I think he has the talent in the next year or two to do it.
I also think that, it's more prestigious to work for Notre Dame than it is to work for the Giants.
Right now, it certainly looks that way. But, now, would I begrudge Marcus Freeman if he left to go to the pros? No, I would not. Would I begrudge Marcus Freeman if he went to Ohio State? No, I would not. That's his alma mater. Yeah. So listen, Gary Williams left an Ohio State basketball program.
Yes, he did.
That, by the way, went to the Final Four like a year or two later with his players to go to Maryland to do a rebuild.
Yep.
People could say that's crazy, But that's his alma mater. That's where he's from. That's his home.
Yeah.
And so I would not fault Marcus Freeman. But
I'll tell you, my grandmother was not happy about
right,
that.
But BK, Brian Kelly, he leaves Notre Dame to go to LSU, gets a fake Southern accent, and makes a fool of himself. And so, yeah, he's got $50 million more bucks coming to him, so God bless him. But
maybe just retire.
Yeah, but he left the LSU because that's where he's gonna have a better chance to win a national title. I'd like to send him a crate of apples right now and just say, "You like them apples?" Yeah. But the coaching carousel, I think Michigan could have done worse. But man, Michigan is a very proud football program that managed to turn into a dumpster fire for about a month.
It did, and I think it really pulled. I mean, they made the playoffs, and the thing is, it pulled focus so hard. And then when they showed up to play in the playoffs, they just fell apart. Yeah, I just think that they were just like, look, you know what, the morale is down. They did the best they could in this situation. Biff Poggi
from Baltimore, by the way.
Yep, he did the best he could.
Yeah,
as an interim head coach, and I don't think that he was ever gunning for that position.
Right.
I think that he would be happy just to kind of fall back into his original role, but I think that he did the best he could.
Don't be surprised if he isn't retained, that they retain him, because he really did. The players very complimentary about how they kept the team together,
and I feel like it would be a nice it would be nice to have it, especially for a transition for a new head coach. So I think that would be important, because the players did really trust him to guide them, and kind of, I'm sure, what a crisis situation to have where your young head coach that you went and to believe in to come to that school to play just totally goes, just kind of falls off in a way that's catastrophic for himself.
Yeah, that's why I hope for him and his family he gets some help, gets straightened out.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that he can't rehab his family situation and his life. He can't rehab his life. I feel like your public eye is over. Yeah. Like, I think you being in an institution anymore without somebody that's like a watchdog over you.
Yeah. Well, he's never going to lead a college football program.
No, and I doubt that he does anything in the NFL, just because there's been scandal and strife there as far as, he'd be an HR nightmare. Yeah. Let's be honest. Okay, so speaking of HR nightmares, the NFL regular season is closing with a big old bang with the Ravens and the Steelers game.
Ravens and Steelers to decide the
winner takes all.
Winner take all in the AFC North. I've been a very disappointing division this year. I'm a Ravens fan. A very disappointing effort by the Ravens.
Yeah.
Lamar's been banged up all year. He is playing tonight. He is not on the injury list for the first time in a long time. Yeah. So he's a full go. Pittsburgh's got a geriatric quarterback.
Yeah, they do.
And they're without their two best wide receivers, one with injury, the other because DK Metcalf decided to assault a fan and got a 2-game suspension.
Yes.
Look,
that was ridiculous.
I can make this real simple.
Yep.
If Derrick Henry runs the ball 35 times, the Ravens are going to win.
Yep.
But sometimes, the Ravens were clobbering your Patriots. And even on TV, they're like, man, the Patriots clearly don't want any more of Henry. They've had enough. And so the Ravens seemed to oblige them in the last 11 minutes. They didn't handle the ball again and blew a 10-point lead and lost the game.
Yes, they did.
So,
apologies.
No, hey, it was.
But they did it to themselves.
I thought it was a terminable offense.
I did too. I was like,
and I thought they doubled down on it. So then when they played Green Bay and they ran them 35 times and literally pounded Green Bay into dust.
Yeah.
I thought I would have fired Harbaugh after that game, after the Green Bay game,
how long?
Because it's an exhibit A on what a bad job you did coaching this year.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that.
But
Harbaugh might be. I think Harbaugh might be out.
I don't think he's getting fired. I don't. I think
really.
I don't think he's getting fired, and I don't think Mike T's getting fired in Pittsburgh. Even though some of the Pittsburgh people are
like, let's move it on.
Yeah,
like these two. Like, why don't you go do your own podcast?
You're 19 and 18. For those guys. So yeah, but it's Sunday night game. It is. So listen, I told all my Steelers friends last Sunday. We're watching the game together.
Yeah.
Down at the local spot, and we're all watching, and I'm sitting with the Steelers fans and said, look, I want you guys to lose so the Ravens have a chance.
Yeah.
But understand what I want is irrelevant. The NFL wants you to lose. Because, listen, if not, next weekend's a clunker. Nobody cares. Yeah. I said, look, they want this game. They're going to move it they're going to flex it to the night game. I'm like, this is like WWE crap. This is like wrestling. And I'm telling you guys, you're going to lose this game. And that is not me just being like I'm just saying we all watch the NFL.
For ratings. If you win, it's not good for ratings.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, So there you go.
I know.
The Browns. Yeah, of all people to count on.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so the Chiefs are out the first time in 10 years.
And Mahomes has torn his ACL.
And then the backup quarterback, I think, also has an injury as well.
Gardner Minshew. So they're on quarterback number 3.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Look, I don't think you do a full rebuild with the Kansas City Chiefs because, look, you have a generational quarterback. He's going to be back.
Do you think Kelsey's going to come back?
I think he might be done. I think he's getting old.
Yeah.
NFL parlance.
He's still in NFL parlance. However, not to take away from his elderly status, he did have one of the best years for a wide receiver.
But here's what he doesn't do anymore. He still catches the hell out of the ball. But when he catches it, he doesn't outrun you anymore. He doesn't. He's
not. He doesn't turn and burn.
No, I'll tell you. I give credit to an NFL fringe Hall of Famer who I think will go to the Hall of Fame. Hard hitting Jason Witten for the Cowboys. Jason Witten was a great tight end.
Yeah.
But Witten would do this move. He'd go either way, break, boom, 9 yards, catch it, bam, he gets tackled.
Yeah.
The last 7 years of his career, Jason Witten couldn't outrun anybody, but he could always get open. That's Travis Kelce now.
And he's at the end of his contract. I think, obviously, if it were me, and I was getting married to one of the richest women in the world, I would probably just go ahead and retire and just say, you know what? I had a good run.
I'm going to the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to the Hall of Fame. My podcast with my brother is highly successful. I'm going to have a ton of opportunity if I want to take it. I can also just take some time off. I can focus on my life post NFL, which would be planning a wedding.
I can make a bunch of money on TV. His brother's great on TV.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he also will be discussing it seriously with his brother, who just went through it a couple years ago, and the transition and how what worked for him, and because a lot of people forget that these players are so indoctrinated with a schedule.
Right.
I do this. I play. Blah 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 blah. My whole life is built around this thing that I've been doing since I was a child.
Right.
And then when that ends, it's like, who am I without this?
Yeah.
Physically, I have to change my entire regimen because I don't need to do what I was doing.
You know what this is akin to? It's akin to the stay-at-home mom when the kid goes to college, right? You've built your whole life on, if you have multiple kids and you finally sent the third one out the door, they don't need you.
Right.
Where do you find value in? And again, both playing in the NFL or playing sports, being a stay-at-home mom, noble profession.
Absolutely.
Okay? But eventually that comes to an end at a relatively young age for both of you, right? It's not that you stop being a mother, okay? You do stop being an NFL player, but you don't stop being a mother. But the point is, you might be 45 and you sent the last kid off to college. It's like, you got 40 years of life left. What are you going to do?
Right.
What's going to give your life meaning? And that's for these NFL guys. Is that's what you're getting at? What's going to give their life meaning?
So I feel like there's really good example. Jason Kelce is a very good example for Travis. Obviously, he's his older brother, so he can say, Jason lost a ton of weight.
Yeah,
he lost 30 pounds or something because he's like, I don't need to carry this extra weight with me, and he wants to.
A lot of the linemen always do that. A lot of them get smaller.
Yeah,
because they know a lot of them are fighting to keep the weight on. Okay,
right.
That's hard work, and they'll say the eating to keep their body at 320, 330 pounds, they're like, eating's not fun. It's just something eating 9 chicken breasts is not fun.
No.
Okay. The first one might be enjoyable, or the second you were hungry. Now you're just pounding this down because you have to.
Right.
And those guys are like, yeah, that kind of sucks.
I just think that it's one of those things where it's a huge life. It's when when NFL players decide to retire, or any sports professional decides to retire, and that's been the majority of their life, it's hard.
Yes.
It's so hard. And so you have to have some empathy there. But here's the thing. It's a natural ending to this because he's at the end of his contract.
Right.
Would he have liked to have ended it on a higher note? Sure. But I think personally, he did what he wanted to. His numbers were really great.
But he's got a lot of life
for his age.
Yeah. For guys 34 years old, he's got a lot of life left.
Yeah,
so go live your life.
Go
have fun.
Absolutely. Go have fun. Travel the world. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe, just do you, Bill.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I'm with you.
So New England 13-3. I'm sorry. I did not see that.
No, I don't think anybody did. Drake May, definitely Matt Stafford seemed to be the two popular names for the MVP of the award. Mike Vrabel, I think, is coach of the year, clearly.
I think he really has turned that program around. I know that Robert Kraft is a really good at, making it feel like a very wholesome and inclusive and very hands-on environment.
Where does the wholesomeness fall in with going to an Asian massage parlor? Where I'm just trying to figure out.
As an organization.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
As an organization, not personally.
Yeah. I mean,
he's the head of the organization.
Every time I see him, I want to say, "Hey, Kraft, get your hands off your granddaughter. Put your dentures back in and go take a nap."
He got married to a physician.
To his granddaughter.
Whatever. Yeah. Listen, whatever makes them happy.
He's a sleazeball.
Well, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying he runs an
the organization is well run.
The organization is well run.
We're a sleazeball.
Okay.
I mean, by the way, everybody makes fun of Jerry Jones.
Uh-huh.
He's been married to the same bride for like 60 years.
I would just like to say that Robert Kraft's wife passed away.
She did, and then he started dating somebody who he has shoes older than.
Good for him.
I mean, apparently Bill Belichick and he don't disagree on everything. Now, do they? Yeah. So
God, what a mess. So the Patriots still have an outside
Patriots
shot.
in Denver. It's Denver play the Chargers, but the Chargers are good in the playoffs, so they're not going to play their quarterback who's banged up.
No.
So I think Denver's going to end up the 1 seed and New England the 2.
Probably
but still,
2,
it's been a great year for Coach Vrabel for the New England Patriots. And
I tell you, it was, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I know
they're stepping up. And that's kind of crazy. I never thought they would be in the conversation, but they are, which is good. Seattle Seahawks are still 13-3.
14-3. They won last night. So they're the number 1 seed. They bullied San Francisco last night. So they have clinched the number 1 seed.
I mean, I think the Eagles have a potential of doing pretty well.
I mean, listen, they are the defending champs. They have lots of weapons. They're extraordinarily well coached on defense.
Yeah.
They've seemed off all year, but I think if they get Lane Johnson back, get a Hall of Fame right tackle back.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody lines up and says, "Ooh, let me play the Eagles. Let me play the Eagles."
Right. Nobody's like wanting that.
Yeah.
So dream scenario for Super Bowl. Who are you thinking at this point? Because it's wide open, and the Chiefs normally are in that conversation, but now they're out. So.
Well, I don't think I always want the Ravens to go, even if they get in, they're not going to the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
I would like to see the Bills go on a run because of Ty Johnson. We have that local tie.
Absolutely.
So if I could see them, the Bills, and out of the NFC, I'm sort of in Seattle. Mike McDonald, their head coach, was the Ravens defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, if you gave me the Bills Seahawks, I'm not gonna cry about it.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'd sort of like to see like the Seahawks and the Jags, only because I think it would hurt the ratings of the NFL.
I think so too, because there's not enough fans for either one of those to.
So anything that kind of poo-poos the NFL, that's usually what I'm for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's sort of where I'm thinking.
My dream situation would be the Pats and the Eagles, and we could have lobster rolls and cheesesteaks.
There you go, and it would mean a lot in this house.
It would be the third time this has happened.
Yeah, in podcast still here.
And so it would be since
and 1-1, right?
1-1. Yeah, we're 1-1, so we'd break the tie. Last time this happened, we went to my best friend Sarah's house in South Carolina, and we ordered lobster rolls. I had them sent, and cheesesteak kits.
Nice.
And then the rule was, because there were small children in the house, that we had to be civil.
Yeah.
We were fine. It was okay. I took a lot of walks.
So lobster rolls, how I welcome my daughter back. Or I ordered the kid, had lobster rolls when she got back from college. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about your O's.
Big off season so far.
Yeah, they spent $155 million.
Polar bear coming, baby.
Oh,
got that. We got that.
Pete Alonso.
We have that right-handed pop put in the lineup. Made a big trade for a starter. Sent 4 premium prospects to the Rays. An intra-division trade you don't see very often.
Nope.
But they said that this Baz guy has really has high-end stuff. They could be like the new Trevor Rogers, who they rebuilt into an ace as well. Traded G-Rod because they couldn't depend on him for Ward. Brings a right-handed power bat in the outfield.
Yep.
And they're supposedly not out of the mix for another premium starter.
They're not.
They brought in a closer, and they brought back Kitteridge in the leverage role.
Mm-hmm.
So the Orioles are definitely being very aggressive in the post.
And they said they were going to be aggressive. I mean, that's the biggest thing that the new management was saying.
Yeah.
Like, look, hey, we know we've got to do
the window's
better.
open, and we got to go get it.
Yep. And I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I would like to see Baltimore go on a long run in the playoff season.
I want to see them it doesn't have to be a long run of sustained excellence.
No,
I just need a short.
baseball.
I just need a short run in 2026 of a long run.
I gotcha.
I was 5 last time. I'm 48 now. 43 years and counting.
Yeah.
I need a World Series.
You do need a World Series. I feel like Baltimore's due for one. I mean, we've got such a rabid fan base here. And I think that
it's a great baseball town.
It is a great baseball town. Number one, it's like I love that stadium. I just do. It just feels good when you're in there. It feels very like a second home, really. And I think that, we're very lucky that that's our hometown baseball. I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I don't get to Boston every time to watch them. But I love I love baseball. So I will watch any baseball game
Great baseball,
anywhere.
great venue.
Yeah. My dream for our area is to have a minor league team. I would love to have a minor league team where we could walk to a game if we wanted to. And I think it would be a great economic driver for the area.
I agree.
And, we are built on baseball legacy here. And I just feel like it would be really amazing and the community could totally rally around that.
Arguably the greatest pitcher to ever play is from Allegheny County.
Yeah, Lefty Grove.
Robert Moses Lefty Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is in that debate for the greatest pitcher of all time.
I agree. And I think that in present day, Leo Mazzoni, who's been on the podcast a couple of times.
Leo, yep.
And you've got
Sam
Perlazzo, so it's just
John Kruk.
Yeah. Oh, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my thing is like we have a rich history of bringing up great ball players, and even Aaron Laffey, he played.
Yeah, played a long time in the league.
So I feel like we just need to really kind of.
Bobby Robertson, Mount Savage strongman.
Yes.
Won a World Series with the Pirates. Yeah, so no, we have a history of baseball.
And I think if you were to make that kind of investment in this town, it would be an investment in. You could use it for other things too, other than baseball.
I tell you, it was on my playlist if I would have won the Powerball Mega Millions.
Oh my God, we talked about that. Yeah, I was like, we definitely have a minor league team here. I would build it at Canal Place.
I was thinking, yeah.
You're right, in the festival grounds, and you could still use the festival grounds. It would just be a ballpark.
There'd be a lot of gold. Okay,
really?
It'd be beautiful.
What would you call the team?
The Gilmores.
The Gilmores.
Yeah, of course. humble.
Yeah, of course.
I call it.
Would you have a box?
I'd have a powerful presidential box.
Really?
Oh yeah, it would be very.
Do I have a seat with
very powerful? As long as you.
Would you do the podcast from there?
As long as you stay on the island, stay loyal. Speak with overarching fidelity, loyalty. Fraternity, just like the French Republic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, we talked about everybody fantasizes the Powerball, right? The one person in Arkansas won. Number one would be my first call would be to you because
you need a lawyer. We get an accountant, lawyers. Yep. We get a team of lawyers, accountants. Yeah, that's first
exactly.
Thing you do. When you win the Mega Millions Powerball, you go hire a lawyer and accountant right away.
100%.
Financial planner.
Yeah. Well, it would be you and Michael Larkin, my two juggernauts. So I would basically call you and say like, hey, this thing happened. And basically I said to Tim, I was like, well, we would fund the library and we would, do
it's
all
funny.
These
You think the same
thing.
You know what I said to my daughter? She said about what would you do if you won? And I said, it's if you took the cash, it's like 800 million. So after taxes, it's 400 million.
Yep.
I said, look, I'd set up trust for her, for me, for probably my nieces, make sure you take care of stuff. I'd probably waste 10 or 20 million of it just on crap I wanted to do.
Sure.
And then I said, so let's say I put 80 million in trust. So even if I waste all the rest, I'm always going to be comfortable.
Right.
My child's set up to do anything in life, but not enough to do nothing.
Correct.
And then, so let's say I had $300 million left. Mm-hmm. I said, I would initiate a social experiment to see if $300 million, and I would be investing. It was going to be giving it away. Like I would take ownership interests and things like that. Think like Shark Tank, right? Essentially. But I would do business incubation, build stuff. Like I would be a one-person singular economic development engine.
It's so funny
to
you
see
say
like
that,
to see what could I do. Like what can the social experiment is? What can $300 million of non-earmarked cash I get to do with it whatever the hell I want?
Yeah.
And I would have folks helping me, probably Lydia amongst others, to say like, hey, how we're analyzing this. Like, okay, I can tell you, right. The days of us worrying about like certain our community parks would look a lot different.
Yep.
They would look reinvigorated, reimagined. We would have there are so many things. Like we would have a really cool music venue.
Yep.
Okay. Now I might say to someone, I'm going to partner with you on this. You're the day-to-day. You have an ownership interest. I'm an investor, but I want a return on investment. I'm probably setting up what I would call business incubation labs where I try to get people to come,
yeah,
to move here and say, look, here's my great idea. I got people like Lydia, my buddy Nathan. I'll have the financial guys. We'll be vetting your projects, and we'll say, okay, again, it's Shark Tank, right? Yeah. I'm going to invest. You need $200,000. I'm going to invest. You're going to do it here, okay? And you're going to give me 25% in the business, or whatever. Make fair deals. But I'm going to.
But the thing is, yes,
but try to like incubate business and make it. But
the payback goes back into the fund.
Yes, exactly.
It's so funny you say this, because I had a very similar thing. I'd be like, all right, I would just want to incentivize people to come here and try something, and it would be like, okay, yes, and we give you this grant, and then if you are successful, then you have to pay back a percentage of the grant with no interest,
or the grant. The Gilmore Foundation, the Ramos Foundation, we own 20% of Company X.
Yep.
So our royalties don't go to us; it just goes back into the fund. So it just keeps this fund, it keeps
it solvent.
Right.
But I also was like, okay, so the food bank would be like good, and it would be like, okay,
the food bank would be different. You know why? Because I would probably just end food insecurity, as you know it in our community, right? Like, so no, food insecurity just goes away.
Right. And so my thing is like, how do we fund all the nonprofits in perpetuity? They'd be good and set up.
But I would be up there saying to like, okay, I don't want to give a man a fish.
Nope.
Okay. I want to take folks that need food and have food insecurities. Let's teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
What are their barriers? What are keeping them in the position where they need support that I'm happy to give, but how do we change their life? Right.
And I think
like, hey, if I send
housing,
if that person says like, hey, I really wanted to be, an electrician or a plumber, but I just can't afford to take off my job from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to invest in you.
Right.
And so
other countries do that.
And so, but I would say to them is, you owe me no money back, so long as you graduate.
Yeah.
If you graduate, you make a commitment to work in our community, unless you couldn't get a job.
Sure.
Okay. For 2 years. And then you can go be a plumber wherever in the hell you want, or an electrician, or whatever, a teacher, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And again, my point is, let's teach people how to fish. And I got $300 million, and I get to teach you how to fish.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy $300 million worth of fish, because then we're just out.
Tim's big proud. I said, Tim, what would you want to do? And he was like, well, I would want to do like a woodworking apprentice kind of situation, and for skilled labor. And then also, he was like, and also the sidewalks in this town. Like, I want this town to be so walkable and really enjoyable. So his whole thing was like, how do we improve? Again, I think it goes back to us making sure that the community that's given us so much, that if we were blessed to have this option, we would be like, okay, we don't want to leave. Like, we're not like leaving.
Right.
We're still staying here. We want to make sure that that this place is solvent and like really, really lovely and wonderful. That wouldn't mean that I wouldn't be traveling a lot.
No. But it doesn't mean that I might not have a house somewhere else.
Right. But the transition would go from like working to survive to working to help others thrive, and then also just working in the foundation aspect. Yeah. So, no.
And you know what else I would do? I would build a bridge on Washington Street just to show certain people that's possible. Oh my God. And we you know what, the bridge?
Did you buy CSX?
The bridge would be gold.
Oh.
Okay. Gold, probably big like lions, or maybe a statue of me. Be powerful.
A statue of you pointing?
Yeah. Be like
flipping them off, maybe.
Yeah, it would just be very powerful.
Okay.
Very
powerful statuesque.
Yeah, so we just you'd see my name splashed all around town in
so
gold.
I'd see it from Podcast Tell, is what you're saying.
You'd see a lot of things from Podcast Tell. You'd see a lot of gold, okay? Like, cause
a lot of reflection.
Oh yeah, because listen, everything we build, we're gonna build very, a lot of gold plating. A lot of tchotchkes that we probably get from TJ Maxx. Not knocking on TJ Maxx, but a lot of gold to put on the walls.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of gold.
A lot of accoutrement.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing before we go. Venus Williams is back in the headlines. She just got married, by the way. So congratulations.
I saw that.
Venus.
Shout out to her.
She's 45 years old. In a little over 7 months, she will surpass Kamiko Date as the oldest woman ever to play in the Australian Open main draw. So she got a wild card spot in the Australian Open. This is Venus's first Australian Open since 2021. And her 22nd main draw appearance in the tournament. She's reached the single finals twice in Melbourne in 2003 and 2017, losing both times to her sister Serena. Overall, her record there is 54 wins and 21 losses. So congratulations to Serena. I hope you get everything you need out of that.
Hey, want to give a shout out? Your boy.
My boy.
Guy I know, your boy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Joe Vogel. I saw in the email. Today's his birthday. We got the update.
I wished him a happy birthday this morning.
So Delegate Joe Vogel ran for Congress. Got a big, bright political future. I'm not saying that sarcastically. He does.
No.
If you don't know about Joe Vogel, go look about Joe Vogel. He's the future of the Democratic Party in Maryland. I truly believe that.
I do too.
I believe we would have been well served with him as a congressman, but I think his time is not. He took a shot, and God bless him for doing it. He's going to get another shot, and so look out for him. So happy birthday, Joe Vogel.
Happy birthday, Joe. I wished him a happy birthday this morning.
Nice, right on.
Yep. And he's a Hanukkah party alum.
Yes.
I'm very happy he came.
Was here breaking bread with us, so to speak.
Breaking latkes.
With my daughter. Spent some time talking to Rory.
Yes. And he's like, why didn't she apply to run?
Right.
I was like, I didn't know that this was a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was good.
Hanukkah party was a smash hit.
It was a lot of fun.
So by the way,
I
got to give a shout out to one other guy, and
Yeah.
he said it was like one of the greatest things that he's ever heard come out of his mouth. Our mutual friend Ed DeWitt makes his own wine.
Yes, he does.
I was extraordinarily complimentary
It was so good,
of Ed's wine, and Ed's like, that's like the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Aw.
And so Ed's like, that's like a 92 in the Wine Spectator. So shout out to our buddy Ed DeWitt.
Yes, and his family grapes. Those are his grandparents' grapes.
And they were it was excellent. But made his own vintage, multiple vintages. But I tried the red. It was sweet, but it was very good, very drinkable.
Yeah,
and so shout out to our buddy Ed.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered it. It's been an hour and 11 minutes. If you're still with us, congratulations. You win the prize.
Yes, absolutely. So, Lydia, as we said, season 7, episode 6, that leads you to understand, hopefully.
Season 6, episode 7.
Season 6, episode 7,
Okay.
that there's 5 previous seasons and there's 6 previous episodes.
Yep.
So, if those of you who just dropped in for this marathon session, because we had to catch up because of holidays, Lydia, where can they find our previous stuff?
We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible.
Love Audible.
And we're also on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Deezer Player FM.
YouTube is just the audio. We're not going Joe Rogan yet.
Is that something you want to do?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm not dressed for it.
Neither am I.
No, exactly. So we're both we're easy like Sunday morning right now. A lot of sweats on. So and then you can find us on at Jack YDK on Twitter.
Yes.
Or X, excuse me,
It's
whatever.
Twitter.
Twitter to me. Where can they find you?
At RTL Pod.
And they can find me at JMGGMPG. Again, listen, we promised we're going to be better about shows, but then the holidays happen and everything happens. So we are going to be better.
Yeah.
We'll try to come back here in the next week or so. So tune in.
Maybe next Sunday.
Tune in, turn on, drop out, and let's
whatever
just,
makes you happy.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you.